Hello. So this is session 1 of 2 for Orun. This is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts. Orun is a new RPG. Gauntlet Hangouts is an online community of gamers, and you can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. And hey, if you like watching actual plays, which will mean you've gotten more than 10 minutes into this thing, then maybe check out the channel. Look at the subscription feed. I get a ton of recordings on there, and maybe there's a game that you've been like, hey, what's going on with this thing? Go and check it out. I recommend checking out Cryptomancer. That's a really early one I did, and it's super overlooked, and it's really awesome. I got a bunch of those. I think next year I'm going to do like a greatest hits of games that people have not played or listened to that they ought to go and check out. Anyway, so this is Orun, and I'm going to be mispronouncing things throughout this session. Just going to tell you that now. It's going to go with whatever my Hoosier accent gives me. So this is a post-apotheosis role-playing game, is what it is called. And it's a very high sci-fi, maybe even sci-fantasy game. And we're working from the Quickstart, which is available on DriveThru RPG. You can go and check that out. As I mentioned, this game is forthcoming. It is currently, as we're playing here, as we're recording, it is on Kickstarter at this moment and has funded. So, you know, at this point, you're getting on and pushing up the stretch goals if you like this. But anyway, because it is a quick start, my knowledge is limited. I'm working from the materials that's given in there. It has a limited set of the races. The actual game has 11 different alien species. This one presents 5 of them through the pre-gens. So I'm going to talk from what I know, and we'll extrapolate based on that. It might be a little bit different in the actual full game, but we will go with that. So the idea is that in this galaxy, a set of ascended thinkers, beings called the Orisha, managed to start uplifting the galaxy, started bringing them on the path to ascension, started to bring enlightenment throughout the galaxy with powerful talents, abilities to reshape reality, gifts given by their enlightenment and connection to the universe. And one of the things they created were the Orun. And what the Orun are actually, they're actually sphere worlds that surround a star. And these were created worlds made to be massive home worlds for huge populations, to provide the kind of resources and create a post-scarcity society in this future. Once that process began, the Orisha themselves ascended on sort of past this plane, but left behind the tools and the paths and such for other people to uplift themselves. And the galaxy began to ascend and uplift and rise up. But then a threat appeared, something called the mnemonic Sapora virus. Essentially, it was a mimetic meme that corrupted enlightenment, that got in there, that offered some of the tools of ascension, some of the power, some of the gifts, but without the enlightenment. And it wormed its way through the galaxy, corrupting and destroying, creating madness, and ended up essentially devastating the galaxy. And it was only with a group called the Union of Ascension, they're one of the forces in this setting, only with them kind of gathering themselves together, and with some of the Orisha returning to help out, that this was put down. And some of those Orisha that returned, they're called the Oluru. And some of those Oluru stayed around to help kind of keep things going. Now, that's about 500 years in the past. So we're in a galaxy that's still reconstructing several centuries later. And there are still these Oluru that are out there that are helping to raise people up. Our characters, our players are playing what they're called Luminaries. They're also called Djali, meaning that they have some powers. They have started on those paths of ascension. They're not fully enlightened, but they are acting as agents for these Oluru. And essentially, they are enlightened troubleshooters sent to take care of situations, sent to take care of problems. They still have their own conflicts. They're not fully enlightened. They still have their own agendas and things they have to work out. But they have some gifts given by that path that they've undertaken. So that's the basics of sort of the setting. And I say basics, having talked for like 8 minutes straight there. But that's the play that we're going to be doing. Essentially, is players going to a hot spot, trying to use their tools to figure out how to solve the situation and do the most good that they can here. Now, this is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts, as I mentioned. So we are using a very basic safety tool. We're using the X card. That is on the table. I've played with everyone here before. I know everyone's familiar with that, but if you're watching at home and you see us hit the X, or if you see us talk about the X card, we have moved or excised some particular topic or something that some material that we found problematic, that we found off tone, that we found objectionable, that has hit on a trigger of some kind, and we just edit past it and we move on beyond that. That's our basic safety tool that's at the table. Now, this is a sci-fi game and a science fantasy game. So certainly for me, my tonal touchstone is the kind of wonder of Star Wars. I'm gonna admit that right up front, and maybe even the wonder of the original trilogy. You know how those are kind of really bright and glossy, and there is a certain amount of kind of magic that we see in that world that becomes gritty by the time we get to the second trilogy. I think this is a world with a lot of wonder and fantastic things that are happening in it. So that's the general thing that we're going to have on the table here. I want to check if there is anything that we want to draw a line or pull a veil over for the game session. I know we're kind of going into unexplored territory, but I just want to check in and see. Rich, my safety tool guru, person who taught me everything I know about all of this, is there anything that you think you're like, okay, let's definitely keep that off the table?
I think on-screen violence to children, although that one's a weird one because there are very few humanoid type characters in these races. So
right.
So I guess just no one who looks obviously like a human kid having extreme violence done to them on screen would be my line there.
That'd be fine. That'd be fine. Anything else?
Okay. No sexual violence, but I think those kind of go together.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else, anybody? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our players pick their characters, and I'm going to talk about a few mechanics about how resolution works and some things. And I also want to talk about a couple of things that kind of aren't on the sheet that are going to require some self-tracking from you. So Rich, remind me, which one did you say that you wanted to play? Is it Mobo?
I mentioned the Mobo, but I'm happy to pick last if anyone else has Mobo interest, if they're Mobo centric.
Rich, you wrote. I'm going to make you take that because you wrote that in an email. I saw you write an email and make a call, and then I know that Mickey. I know you replied. There was one that you liked.
Yeah, it was. I liked Isude, but I especially liked Bunmi.
Bunmi. Do you want to take Bunmi?
Yes, I think I will.
Okay, all right.
Unless someone else really, really wants it. I don't want to just take it, but it's my preference.
There you go. We're gonna give you that. Larry, okay. I also saw that you picked one as well, right?
Yeah. Kaseko caught my eye.
All right. Oh yes, the grifter. Okay, well we're going to give you that one then. All right, cool. That's going to leave you with the choice of a Sude or a Budan.
Those are actually the two I was interested in.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with the Abiodun.
Abiodun. Okay. Then I'm going to hide the column on this first character here and get that out of the way so that'll free up some space. And of course, that will do the thing with the picture where it does that weird thing. I have to then delete the picture. Thank you, Google Spreadsheets. I'll move this over here. Delete that. So let me talk a little bit about the system. This is a very basic stat plus skill system. The stats are called auras: grace, harmony, light, spirit, and war. And they're a little bit like approaches. I mean, obviously, conflict things, we're using war to do that. And the other ones, how they define these, let me get the little sheet here. And again, I'm going to be flipping to the Quickstart rules that I printed out here. Grace is for speed and coordination. Harmony is social interaction. Light is intelligence, wisdom. And spirit is for magic effects and resisting adverse effects. And basically, you're going to be using those as a raw number plus a skill. So if, let's say, you're attacking someone, you might use war plus weapons. You're going to be doing that, and then you're going to be rolling 2d10. We're going to add modifiers if the task is easy, subtract modifiers if the task is difficult. And then we're going to compare it to a chart that you'll see there on the Mechanics tab. And essentially, what you get as your final number is going to determine whether you fail or succeed. And it's also going to determine then how well you do. If you succeed well, you're going to get an edge. And edges are essentially like a fate point. They are a currency that you can use. You can have up to 4 of those. And they can be spent to give yourself bonuses to roll, to heal, to do a re-roll, to shake off effects, that kind of thing. So you will accumulate those. The other thing you might accumulate if you fail is hitches. And hitches are like a currency that I have as the GM to mess with you. It's like darkness points from Coriolis. It's a thing. I still get to do moves. There isn't like a GM move thing, but this gives me bonuses to cause you problems and headaches. So those are in there, and you can see that on that second page. I talk about how you earn the edges and hitches and what you do with them. I also have what each of the skills mean. When we come to damage, we'll talk about aura, because your aura is kind of your spiritual hit points that you wear out or you spend to power certain abilities. You can also spend it to give yourself a bonus to a roll. It's a resource that gets recharged. So that's there. Your wounds are what comes after you've burned through your aura. That's your actual physical damage. And then I've got a little thing on your sheet for edges. Now, I want to talk about how this system does experience points. Basically, you get XP on a miss. And how that works is when you roll with a particular skill and get a failure, you're considered to have gotten essentially what they call a trial. And that's an XP. So if you make a roll on a skill and you miss, what I'd like you to do is put an asterisk next to that number. When you get asterisks equal to that number, like if let's look here at Bunmi's adapt. If she fails twice with that, then she will get to mark that 2 dots, and then she can raise it up to a 3. So essentially, you're going to get XP for your skills based on fails, XP on a miss. The other thing is, you notice that everybody has XP. You get 2 points that you start with. You give that to other players. That's when somebody does something cool that you dig or helps you out. You give them one of those 2 XP, and they can apply that to one of their skills. Essentially, it's a free asterisk that they can distribute around. And that refreshes every session. So that's a little currency that is always going to be there on the table. There's another system here where you can actually raise your auras up if you do things that kind of fit with that path. I'm going to probably steer a little bit away from that. That's a little bit involved, at least for this first session. But I definitely wanted to tell you about the skill XP system that's going on there. If you go ahead, if you take a look at your characters, and you've got a number of special abilities on there. I typed those all in, and I don't remember what they are. But since a lot of it is copy and pasting, let me see if you have any questions about those abilities or the equipment or anything like that. Rich, do you have any questions?
Not yet.
Okay. That seems fair. You will see you have reputations. Basically, reputations is if you need to go and call on those people to help you, you will make a roll and use your level of reputation with them to help you out. And then it gives you some sample contacts that you can actually call them in for assistance. You still make a roll, and they have some skills that they might help you with. So those are also on the table.
I have a quick question.
Absolutely.
Hitches, you said that they get tracked by the GM. Are they kept individually for each of us, or do you have a pool?
That is a group pool. I will collect those hitches together, and I will even put it in the chat and cackle as I get them. Nice. So just be aware of that.
Okay.
And I believe that resets at the beginning of each session for me, so I don't carry over the hitches from session to session.
Okay.
Other questions?
Yeah. How are we gonna? Excuse me. How are we gonna roll?
Oh, so on. I thought I had put. Did I not do a roller for this? Let me get the roller out. I thought I had done a roller for it.
Lowell, I'll be right back. I'm
Sure.
getting a lot of hiccups. I'm going to try my tablet to
Absolutely. Get a new room here. Okay, I'm going to put the roller link in the chat, and then I'll put it in the document as well. Thank you for that. I had forgotten about that. Okay. Mickey, do you have any questions about those abilities?
No, at the moment, I think I'm okay. I may have questions later. But...
Okay. Anything else? All right. So what I'm going to have you do is go through, and I'm going to ask you to introduce your character, how you're envisioning them, what you're thinking about them. I may ask some questions about how you picture that, and try and get that. Now, obviously, the pre-gens in the playbooks have some other stuff, but I want to get your sense of how you want to handle the character. So let's start. I'm going to work essentially right to left on my thing. So I'm going to start with Kaseko. How do you want to say that? How do you want me to pronounce your name, Larry?
I blanked out. Sorry. I think we'll go with Kaseko.
Okay. So tell me what you're imagining for Kaseko. So for anyone watching at home, who and what is Kaseko?
So as I recall, let me pull it up. He's this Babachi, I guess is how I'm gonna pronounce that, which are some kind of like aquatic slug. I think that's how it was described.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to pull it up right now. Yeah, and I mean physically, they've got like these eyes attached to stalks on the top of sort of like the head and all these sort of tentacles, which actually does have a mechanical effect. Like I'm really hard to sneak up on. I guess the other sort of physical thing that's kind of cool is I think my scales can change colors, which allow me to sort of be camouflaged in different environments. So I can also sneak around pretty well. I guess more personal to Kasiko himself. I guess I don't know whether or not this race has
But what do you want
genders or
to
not.
use? A male gender, female gender? Do you want to use a third person?
Yeah, maybe like I can't remember what the background material said, but I'm just going to say that they don't distinguish between genders, this particular race.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's going to make a their. You can just use their.
Okay.
They're them.
All right.
Yeah. Is that enough, or you want more?
Yeah. And anything you want to say about your special abilities the other players should know about? Maybe anything that you want to put on the table for them?
You mean like the talents?
Yeah. Is there anything that you're like, okay, this is kind of crucial to what I dig about the character?
Well, other than the couple of physical special attributes I mentioned, I think the spy network is kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think that was a general sort of idea or trait behind the Babachi race, is that they like to hoard information. So I do that through my spies.
Okay. And I like the idea that they have that the Babachi, they like acquiring things because stuff and information is about social status for them, and everybody has to have things, and information is the most valuable resource there. All right, let's come to Mobo. Is that how we're going to say that?
I was pronouncing it Mobo.
Mobo. Okay.
So if you could pronounce it Mobo, I would appreciate
Mobo.
it.
Okay. Like Lobo, but with an M.
Oh, now I want to pronounce it differently.
Okay.
No. So Mobo is he appears human. His background, he is an aeronaut, which is a pilot. He is from Aiku. As far as the look, he basically looks like a Wakandan from the Amazing Black Panther. I mean, that's a really big inspiration here. You can see the pic from the Quickstart. He has this killer energy shield and a crazy looking like fire spear of some kind. I don't see any like gear lists. So I mean, it's called an agile spear, and I don't even know what the geyser's his ship. So he has a ship, and yeah, it's pretty interesting. And
what is your focus? You're the pilot type character, then, right?
Yeah.
And any talents that you want to mention that struck you?
I think it's hilarious that one of his talents is called Hog the Spotlight. He gives the ability to gain attention from enemies, so it seems like he can keep people's attention on him so other people can do things.
I like it. All right. And they mentioned that there are genders here. Mobo is a he?
Yes, he, him.
Okay. All right. Next, Mickey, please tell us about Bunmi.
All right. So, yes, we have Bunmi, who is a Koban. And this is a race. She's also a virtuoso. That's her background. And she is a she, her. And her backstory is that she grew up sort of as a pampered, perhaps a celebrity performer type person on her homeworld. I kind of get the impression from pulling out of the backstory that I probably will end up playing her somewhat like, a politically perhaps somewhat politically active Hollywood liberal, celebrity liberal. And so we'll see how that goes. But this species is basically humanoid. They appear to have blue skin. They are almost always perceived by other races as very beautiful. And that is actually, from what I read in the Quickstart, not necessarily their actual appearance. Like if you watch them on a video camera or something, they don't appear quite as ethereally beautiful as they do. And they do not, to their own species, appear quite as beautiful as they do to other species. But since you're all other species, I'm really beautiful. And I also have a propensity to be able to tell when people are lying. People who are trying to lie to me will suffer a penalty, and I can spend a harmony aura to automatically tell if someone's lying. Also seem to be kind of perceptive. I can spend a grace to attune to secret doors and compartments and stuff. So I'm sort of like a bardy, roguish type thing kind of person here at least. Oh, I have to admit, this has got to happen at some point. I can shoot trick shots like around corners and stuff.
Okay.
Which is like so funny compared to the other abilities that this character has. It's like, oh, and by the way, you can shoot someone who's holding a hostage in front of them in the back by bouncing it off a wall behind them. And I'm just like, oh, okay, that's cool.
It's like it's like the person who made up the character had some extra points laying around. Like, what do I want to buy? I've got points for another talent.
Yeah.
This looks good.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that very much. One of the things I do want to mention is that I need to I'll fix for next week in the thing is points can be spent generally from aura, and when you take damage, you take it generally from aura, but some powers require the spending of specific auras. So if you have to spend a specific aura, like let's say your harmony or whatever, just go ahead and put a slash and put your current after the slash by the stat, and then lower your aura as well, the big number. I'll get that fixed for next time so that it'll actually automatically calculate all that stuff. But that's a spreadsheet error on my part. Finally, Ari, can you tell us about how do we want to pronounce that first?
Oh, let's see. I guess we can call it Abiodun.
Odun. Okay. All right.
I'm guessing. That sounds good to me.
It's your character.
Yeah.
Tell us about Abiodun.
Abiodun is a Fitora. The Fitora are from an aquatic planet called Ayajin. Most of their, let's see, it says landing pads for visiting spacecraft, but most of their cities are below the waves, some large enough to jut out of the water. And Abiodun is the appearance of Abiodun is 2 meter tall insect-like creature, chitinous shells, 20 arms. 14 of the arms act as legs on the body, and 4 act as arm-like manipulators. 13 eyes crown the head, and a system of finger-like appendages denote where the mouth is. I was born so my parent gave birth to a drone, and so 2 eggs, and I am the one that ate my parent. And based on that, I think this is a species that may compartmentalize a lot of their experiences, because that sounds pretty horrible. And they're these deeply intellectual creatures and healers, which gives me the sense that they're very sympathetic or empathetic. So that's an interesting collision between those 2 things.
And you definitely can keep some of those experiences from the parent through the consuming of them.
Yeah, and there's a couple of abilities here. Let's see. Yeah, they can draw on different lives. So I think there's sort of a little bit of the memories when they eat the parent. There's a bit of their past that's passed on. But I have a number of healing abilities here. I think that's going to be my focus.
Excellent. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to go through. So the Quickstart has a pretty basic adventure. We're going to play through that. We'll stop at the midpoint and take a break. I am terrible at judging how long adventures take. So we're going to see how far we get tonight. We might finish it. I don't know. I don't know. We're going to see how crunchy the system is. If we finish this adventure, we'll play off of that onto something else for next time. But it does mean that if anyone's watched this at home, spoilers for the quick start. Just going to tell you that now. So, Mobo, tell me something about the geyser, your ship.
Yes. So let me refresh. The geyser's stats are listed as an agile ship. It's not much, but he loves it. And it gains rolls for speed or maneuvering. I'm not sure why it says or, but I don't know if that means both or I have to choose. I'm not sure there. We'll figure it out.
Conjunctions are hard.
I think would it be cool if the geyser is large enough for all of these troubleshooters to potentially travel aboard it?
That would be great.
Pilot? Okay, cool.
Yeah. So you think you're like maybe Firefly sized?
I think Firefly size sounds good. My original thought was the ship from Last Starfighter, but that is definitely not appropriate for a four-person crew.
Like sardines.
Yeah. So I think a Firefly-like ship, which probably has some extra modifications to help with speed and or maneuverability.
Fair enough. So comfortable quarters inside, you think?
Lived in. I think that it's like over a century old. There's maybe 15 models advanced. Like I'm rocking the iPhone 3G of ships, but there's a lot of modifications that have been done over time, and it's comfortable. It's a lot of leather inside, and I don't mean that in a weird, like kinky way. I mean like upholstered leather things rather than that crazy synth plasticky stuff. So it's not bad.
A certain amount of naturalist decoration throughout.
Yes, thank you. That sounds so much better than there's a lot of leather. So thank you.
So I'm going to hard frame some things to get us started because the adventure actually doesn't say a couple of things about how you get some places, but this is what I'm going to do. You are on the geyser. And as happens from time to time, the four of you have acted as troubleshooters in different places. You've all worked with one another in the past. In play, we'll discover how you react to one another. But the Oluru, essentially, this is one of those Orisha that has come back to help out, who is essentially your patron. And its name is Chiantora. And you'll get that feeling in among your spirit and so on that Chiantora is calling to you, and you will assemble in a larger space. Do you mention you have a meeting room, or do you mention that meetings take place in a hangar? What do you think? A cargo hold?
Oh yeah, meetings take place in the hangar where we have the little 6-wheeled ground vehicle. So it's kind of, we're all standing around a vehicle. That's effectively our conference table.
And Chiantora appears, and for each of you, it appears close, like an approximation, like a kind of a glowing line drawing of your species when it appears there. And it will say to you, there is a threat to innocence. And I need to put you in the place to be able to help them. I will be moving you to that place. And then I will be moving you from this ship to where you need to be. I hope that you can help them. And then she's gone. He, she, they, it. You don't know how, I mean, the gender is to it. And there's probably a moment where you have a chance to maybe start to say something to each other. And there's that feeling of space folding. And it's different than I imagine the warp transit or drives are. This is something entirely different when the Oluru actually extends their awareness and shapes things. And you will feel that shudder and realize that you are somewhere else. So you can pull up, a quick data pad and see that you're in a completely different star system. And you are in a system called Conus. And even as you've popped in with your ship, you will see that there is a massive space station. And you can see it has damage on it. It's a fully made model with the battle damage effects on it that they built there. You see places where oxygen and smoke are getting vented out into the void of space. You will see that it is a weaponized station, and it's big. But you also see that there is clearly some kind of like space battle going on, even as you can kind of drifting in closer to that station. You can see there's a planet down below for this. So let's do the first test here, Rich. I'm going to kind of move you to this test because I want to get a chance to do this. And then we're going to kind of move you into the situation. So tell me, where would you put your ship? How do you want to position yourself? Do you want to try to get in orbit? Do you want to try and attach on to the space station? Do you think you have a means of concealing yourself? How would you kind of settle in? You know that she is going to transport you somewhere. So how would you settle your ship out?
I'm not entirely clear. You're saying that she's going to teleport us away from the ship. So where do I settle the ship at? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think you set it on a remote? Do you attach to something? How would you do that?
Oh yeah, I think there's like a Wilford Brimley AI. Wilford Brimley voices the AI.
I see. So, okay, Mobo, what is it that you need today?
I'm going to be leaving Brimley.
Really? This
Yes.
seems like a dangerous place to be leaving me alone.
Yes. But it can't be helped. We have to help people. I need you to get in geosynchronous orbit opposite this space station and keep in contact with me with updates on the situation here.
All right, I can do that. So this requires a little bit of your skill to kind of get things set here. So that's going to be, I think, Grace plus your
interface.
Yeah, I think interface is the right one there. And then the bonus, are you using speed or you're using maneuvering?
Maneuvering?
Okay, good. So you get the bonus.
I was a guess, but
Yep.
I'll take it.
Sounded like a question.
Yeah. So go ahead and roll interface plus Grace plus the bonus you get for speed or maneuvering.
Okay, so I'm rolling 2d10, and then I just
2d10.
add those numbers?
Yep.
Okay.
And I promise I'm going to move to other characters here in a sec, okay?
And if you don't mind linking that dice roller, I don't have.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna drop it in the characters thing on row 60.
Okay. I put it on the mechanics tab way off to the side.
Oh,
So what's your
yeah,
total,
that's
Rich?
right. I have rolled a 14.
Okay.
And if I am adding my grace of 4 and my interface of 5, that is 9. So I'm at 23. And then you said something about speed?
You could use your ship's bonus for this.
Yes. Let me read that. Read that. Plus 3 more. So now I have to do math again. That was 12 to 26.
26. That means you're going to succeed and you get 2 edges. Okay? You essentially get 2 fate points for your awesome success there. Okay? Even you're calculating this out. You're trying to get a space where you're kind of calculating where the space battle is shifting, and kind of even as you're getting that last little bit coordinated in, you 4 will feel that shift again. And let me kind of switch now over. There is that transition, that shift, and you will find yourself in a massive space. Let me start with Abiodun. You can realize that you're in a giant hangar, like it is clearly the hangar on the space station, like one of those hangars for multiple ships, and they have attachments up on the ceiling. They've got gantryways. They've got cranes all around there. We've got gantries. We've got damaged ships throughout the field here, and crates and things. If any of you have ever played like Dark Forces, one of the old Star Wars games, there are some levels there that when you walk into them, they're huge. They're just kind of massive areas that you have to walk across. The 4 of you will appear, and it definitely looks like most of the ships here are kind of dry docked, battle damage, that kind of thing. But you will see that there is one ship that looks different than the other ones, and you're fairly close to it, and you can see that there's some people around it that are clearly talking, trying to figure something out. So let me start with you, Abby.
Yeah, I'd like to see if I can get close enough to hear what they're talking about.
Absolutely. Try and do this quietly.
Yes.
Okay.
They may not be aware of us yet. Maybe they'll divulge something.
Sure, absolutely. So maybe Grace and Covert.
Let's see. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Oh, or it could also be Inspect, but yeah, Covert probably.
I'd be good with Inspect if you want to use that. It's an additional 1 for you.
Yeah, sure. Let's
okay.
Do that. So let's see the dice roller. I rolled 3d10. I gotta get some dice for myself.
Sure.
I'll go with green. Do I need to figure out my modifiers before I roll? Or?
I think this is. I'm going to give you a +3 on this. This is fairly easy. They are very much occupied right now.
Okay. +3, so that's an 8.
Plus your auras and stuff.
Let's see.
Grace and Inspect plus that.
Grace is 1. Inspect is 2.
Okay. Do you want to succeed and give me essentially a hitch, or do you want to fail?
I'll take a hitch.
Okay, so I'll mark that on my little chart here then.
So that's a success. I don't mark anything, right?
You don't mark anything.
Okay.
So you will move over, and you can see as you approach and get a sense that there is a person who looks like they're an Oyan, like Mobo, and they're desperately kind of working at this like terminal pad that's there, and having no success with it. And the other figure that's there, kind of over their shoulder, is definitely a holographic projection, and it sort of looks like a Koban, and you can see that they are having trouble there, and the hologram saying everything's out. That's not going to open the door in time. And he kind of keeps working on that. What do you do, Kaseko?
Yeah, I'm wondering if these are the people who are in danger of losing their innocence. That's a rather cryptic message. They seem friendly enough, so I think I'm just going to directly approach them and try and think like, yeah, I'm going to approach them and like greetings. My name is Kaseko. I see that you are in some distress. How might I be of service?
And the person who is working away on the console is startled and kind of turns and looks at you and says, "Are you with the merchants?"
No, actually, we were. Sorry, I'm really bad with these names. We were sent by the Oyesha.
Sent by the Oluru.
Oluru. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, the Oluru.
And as soon as you say that, he's like, "Oh, you're a Luminary? You one of the Djali?"
Yes, that is correct.
And he'll kind of look at the four of you and say, we're in grave danger here. We need your assistance.
Please continue.
This is, and he gestures both to the ship and to the AI. This is our ship, the Righteous Walker. It is filled with refugees that we had to transit to here, but the ship, the station was attacked. It is part of the civil war that is going on between the conglomerate, the conglomerate of Wasi, and then the People's Liberation Union. They attacked the station to prevent it from firing rail cannons down on their locations, and now there is a battle outside, and the station was hit. And he gestures. He says, "The release, the access way is shut. The docking bay is closed. We cannot open it. And if we don't open it soon, I'm afraid that we will be caught in whatever crossfire is going on here."
Oh my, those poor people.
We have several hundred people aboard the ship.
Oh, we're going to help you. Don't worry. That's why we're here.
Your weapons are disabled?
Pardon?
Your weapons are disabled?
We have no weapons. We're a refugee ship. We're a transit ship.
Well, I look to the others. What can we do to stop the hostilities?
We may not be able to stop the hostilities at this point. I think our first priority would be to try to get the cargo bay doors open so that the ship can get out of here before the station is further damaged.
And the AI will turn to you, the ship's AI, and will say, we have analyzed the situation. Right now, we can't manually open the bay doors from here. It seems that the ship's AI was taken offline by the initial attack. We assess that it will require either someone to go and reboot the AI to be able to issue the order, or someone to go down to operations to the main center there and manually do the release to open the bay doors.
I volunteer to manually open the bay doors. What if we were to work on the AI and it turns out there's a blockage on the doors? The AI would be unable to open the doors. It's the most direct route.
Operations definitely has the overrides to be able to do that.
I'm inclined to agree, Mobo. That's an excellent idea. You're very good at this.
It requires moving to the top of the station from here.
Oh. That sounds exciting.
And it kind of, as you're doing that now, probably hear another rumble and actually feel the station shake. Like clearly some of that firefight outside, some of that space battle is still continuing on and is still rocking the station. And you'll probably see one of the gantryways that has like a section of ship lifted up. It sways precariously there. This is clearly staying too long here is going to be very dangerous.
We should go now.
Time for some swashbuckling. Let's do this.
And you four will gather yourselves together. The AI will kind of provide you with a rough schematic that it has for essentially a couple of routes to go by. And even as you kind of are turning to move out of here, you will start to hear sounds like a humming approaching over to this area where you're at. So, Boone, what do you want to do when you hear that humming?
Let's see. I mean, I wonder if it's not pleasant, is it?
No, it definitely sounds like there's a group of things approaching right now.
Okay. Well, I don't like the sound of that. I think something's coming. Perhaps we should move off to the side in case they mean us harm.
So kind of moving off to try and get yourself to like a better position to get yourself a little bit of cover kind of thing?
Yes.
And as you do that, as you're moving off the side, you will see these security drones rolling in. They're like tripods. Essentially, they've got 3 spokes with a kind of anti-grav thing on them. You can see that they've got restraint handcuffs and things on the side for a variety of races. But more importantly, you can also see that they've got a couple of active blasters And you'll also see that they are clearly in autonomous full defense mode. Like the AI going offline has kicked them into high gear. And the second they roll up and they see your contact, the 6 of them begin moving towards and powering up blasters. So here's where we do something that I know you guys are going to love. I need you to roll initiative. Okay. And initiative is a D10 plus your war. And if you have any bonuses to initiative, you will add that.
Right. Let's do bonus. Okay.
All right, here goes.
Okay.
Plus war.
Ugh.
Okay.
So it's D10 plus what?
Plus your war aura.
War.
11 for Abi Odun.
Okay. What did you get, Mobo?
An 11.
11. Kaseko? Siko?
I got a 3.
3. Bunmi?
I got an 8.
Okay. All right. And they got got a 5. Drones. So Mobo, these 6 drones come rolling out. It looks like they are hunter seekers at this point. You know, you're in kind of a big complicated area. You know, there's a lot of ups and downs. We've got fuel tanks, we've got tool lockers, cargo containers. There's lots of crates, of course, because it's about to be a firefight, Rich. So there's lots of crates there.
Nice.
And you will see your contact is kind of moving to run back to get in the ship to get to cover here. So what do you want to do, Mobo?
I have an agile spear
Okay.
that has charges with an Orisha blast. That sounds cool. So I'm going to shoot an energy blast. It erodes the target's defense by -2 for the battle.
Ooh, that is very nice. So right now, I'm going to look at their little numbers. So you're going to make your roll to hit them. You're going to roll 2d10 plus your war plus weapons plus any bonus that any of your items gives you.
Okay. I have 2 war, 2 weapons, and my agile spear is a +2 to attack. So I'm rolling 2d10 plus 6.
Okay.
I rolled a 3, so I have a 9.
So now here's one of the great things is you have a couple of edges, Rich.
Oh yes, I have edges.
You could use an edge to add just +2 to the roll, or you can also spend an edge to re-roll 1 die.
I will spend an edge to re-roll one die, or both
You could
dice?
spend 1 die. You could spend both edges and re-roll both.
I'm not going to do that. I'll re-roll the 1.
Okay.
And I got a 2, so
Okay.
I'm not meant to be successful here, and I'll just eat that.
Okay. So what was your total?
My total was 10.
Your total was 10. So that is a failure. So tell me what that looks like. What happens? What throws your aim off there as you fire that off?
I think he had a good shot, but then there was everything shook from some fire. Yeah, and he did the Star Trek original series of like sliding side there.
And what do you mention that blast looks like?
Oh, well, the picture is pretty impressive. So I think it is this fiery it kind of is like a flame representation of a round, like a. It's not a super sharp spear, like it's edged, and it comes down, so it's almost like a sundial in a way.
Ooh, I
so
like that.
it's like a laser shoots out of it. Very sun sword, very Thundar the Barbarian there. So
okay. And I will say that it does draw one of these towards you, like it peels off at least one of these sentry bots away from their target. So let's come to Abby next. What do you want to do?
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do. Take a look at this and tell me if this would make sense. I've got this ability here. I'm sorry, piece of equipment called Info Bracer, and it's embedded in my arm. It collects info in the surrounding area and reports back info that will help adapt and blend in. Could I use that to kind of like scan the area and give our group a better defense from these things?
Oh, that's really interesting.
Or is that stretching?
Yeah, no, I like that. Let's do that. And how about we say that depending on your role, you can generate some edges for the group.
Sounds good.
Sound good? So what do you want to roll with that?
So it gives me +2 learning.
Okay.
And my learning is 3, so that's 5.
Okay. And you would use light.
Light, which is 4.
Okay.
So that's +9.
Yeah, so roll and add 9.
Okay. Wow.
What'd you get?
I got 27.
27. Okay, so I'm going to say that you are going to get 4 edges that you can distribute out.
Great. I'm going to give everyone 1 edge each.
Okay, everybody gets an extra edge.
Nice.
And what does that look like? What do we see on screen? What's the visual for that?
I think what we see is I'm looking down at one of my arms, actually several of them, because they're all giving me information. And then I have my Agile Sun Staff, which illuminates. So there's a blazing light that shoots these beams to different parts of the area we're at and gives us sort of an idea of where's the best location to get to.
Oh, very nice. We kind of get that, maybe that overhead look in the scanner, but awesome. Let's come to you then, Bunmi.
Well, I think that the time has come for some fancy shooting.
Okay.
So I will draw my Agile Blaster and attempt to shoot one of these security drones right upside the central processing unit. And let's see. So,
you also get 1 edge, just in case.
Oh, yeah. Nice. All right, so rolling the clear dice. Let's do this. 17.
17. So that will hit. And it's a success. And essentially their passive defense is a 13. So you beat their margin by 4, which actually means that they are going to take 2 points of damage. Does your thing do extra damage?
I get +1 damage as well, yeah.
How much do you get?
+1.
+1. So you will hit and do significant damage to one of these drones. Like it is staggered, almost kind of knocked off its balance there, and will kind of turn and maneuver trying to get you in line of sight there.
Nice.
So I'm going to say that we'll say that 2 of the drones are still sort of occupied, moving to try and follow your target, and I'll put 1 of these drones on each of you. And I'm going to resolve an attack on each of you. And as a GM, I have to roll now. A weird game, okay? So a Mobo, let me look here and get your numbers. Do I have that on your sheet? Why do I not have that on your sheet? So your passive defense is equal to 10 plus your war aura in this case. So what is your passive defense, Rich?
12.
12. So I need to hit a 12. Now, one of the things that you can do is you can do an active defense. If you decide to do that, we double your aura for those purposes of defense, and you take a -2 on your next action. So that's there's a little bit of crunch in the system. So I'm going to take a shot at you, Rich. I'm going to generate myself a couple dice here. Okay, I'll pull those over here. So that is a 9 plus that. And they've got that. So that's that. So they are going to hit you for 1 damage, Rich. Do you have any damage reduction?
Yeah, I have agile armor, absorb 5 damage. Is that 5 damage every attack or just a total of 5?
So you can essentially, you've got a standard passive damage reduction of 1 on any hit, but you could also like overclock it to set it up as a shield projector to like if you wanted it to block something big that was coming at you.
I see. So damage reduction of 1. I'll just go with the normal.
Okay, so you won't take any damage. So that blast hits you, and what do you suppose that looks like? How does your armor dissipate the blast?
Oh, I think the armor is maybe not the armor, but it's that cool shield that he's pictured with, the one that kind of is like a swoop or almost like a kayak that's been flattened out or something. Okay. It's very cool looking. And there's like this honeycomb energy signature that happens when it would impact. And that's what saves him from getting hurt.
Very nice. Very nice. I'm going to take a shot on Bunmi. I'm going to reroll my selected dice. So that's a 10 plus that. And your passive defense is, what's your war? I think everybody's is 2, right? 2. Okay. So a 12.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So it is going to hit you for 2 points of damage.
All right. I have a damage reduction of 1 on my armor.
Okay.
So I get 1 point of damage?
Yeah. So what you'll do is essentially you choose one of your auras to essentially take the damage on. It doesn't reduce your rolled number, but it sort of tracks that.
I see. Aw, well, that sucked, so I'll take it against my spirit.
Okay. And then let's roll that. And that's going to hit you for 2 points, Abby. Do you have damage reduction?
I don't see anything there.
Okay. So you're going to take 2 points, and you take that on your auras first. Essentially, what I would do is essentially put a slash by the auras that you want to take damage on, and write your temporary number. Again, doesn't affect your rolls. You only mark wounds once you've got through all your auras.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So I'll just take 2 off of light.
Right. And then I'm going to reroll selected. And that's going to hit you for 2 points, Cacico. Do you have any armor any damage reduction?
I do have a reduction of 1.
Okay, so you'll take 1 point on one of your auras.
So like I reduce like Grace, Harmony, one of those by 1 point?
Yeah. So like you would, if you wanted to reduce Grace, you do 3/2 then.
Okay, gotcha.
And really what it matters for is if you have things that are powered by particular auras.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then it comes to your action, Cacico.
Yeah, well, Cacico is good and pissed off now.
Yeah.
And as a former gladiator, I think I'm just going to like whatever the one that's not damaged, I'm just like going straight at him. I think when I get close enough, I want to like do a mechanically irrelevant like flourish with my arms that everyone kind of recognizes as like some kind of like a professional wrestling kind of like indicator, like maybe like beating your chest kind of thing, but you know, whatever the version of that is, kind of flailing of tentacles. And in that flailing display, can't quite perceive it, but like I whip out my my plasma agile dagger, just kind of materializes in one of my hands, and I'm gonna like go hand to hand with this mofo.
Awesome. So I think that looks like warfare plus weapons.
Yes.
Plus a bonus of 2 from the dagger.
Yes. I'm really bad at math. I'm going to try to keep all these things in my head. Okay, now submit. And I created more dice than I wanted. Anyway, so that's 8.
And you get another +1 because of your gladiator.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 4 is 2. God damn it. Okay, weapons is 2. That's 4. +1 from gladiator is 5. +2 for the dagger is 7.
Yeah, it looks like your standing attack is a 7. Yeah.
Okay.
15.
I'm at 15.
15. Now you have an edge. You could re-roll one of those dice if you wanted to.
Well, what does 15 get me? Is that good or bad?
So right now that will be a hit, and you will do 1 damage. Plus, how much does your dagger do?
It's got +1 damage. Ignores 2 armor though.
Okay, so you'll do 2 points of damage to it at this point.
Or
you could spend that edge and maybe get higher.
Yeah, I'm totally spending it.
Okay.
All right. Reroll selected. Ha! 6.
Okay. So that will do a total of 4 points of damage then. And what does that look like? What does the plasma thing look like when it hits this drone?
Well, how badly am I hurting it?
It is nearly out with this strike.
Okay. Then I think it maybe. I think it's like hitting it in whatever, like sort of like the sort of the main chassis, and like it cuts through the metal like, you know, like a hot knife through butter. Okay. And like where it moves through, like the edges kind of like glow, like a hot, like molten metal, you know, that kind of look.
Absolutely. The plasma thing slices through it, and you will leave this great gash, and whatever kind of circuitry or internals, there's sparks coming out from that, and it's trying to regain its balance and turn to get its other blaster aimed at you. Mobo, what do you want to do? And you get one more thing. You also get an edge too for that roll.
Oh, cool.
Luminary. So,
Casita, when we're done with this, I want to put you in touch with my agent. That was impressive.
I look bashful.
Oh. it was theatrical. Yes. Mobo, we've got a couple of these damaged, but we still got a bunch of them out here operating. What do you want to do?
They are like, if we were to just break and run for it, that would be less successful. Or
they would probably right now. Some of them would chase you, and there's at least one chasing your contact right now.
Oh, then we can't have that. I'll shoot the one chasing your contact.
Okay. Then that is weapons plus warfare plus any other bonuses that you have.
Okay. I'm not good at this, just so you guys know.
Okay.
I just rolled 2 2s and got 2 2s. So if it's okay with everybody, I think that didn't happen. So
yeah. My general rule is if you roll and it looks like it's the same thing, you re-roll.
Okay. I got an 11.
Okay. And you've got a warfare of 2, weapons of 2, plus 1 from your weapon. So that's a 5. So 16.
Wait, no. I rolled a 5.
Oh.
And I have a total of War 2, 6 that I add on, so it's 11. I'm going to spend one of my edges to re-roll that 1.
Okay.
Because it worked out so well for me before I'll just keep that up. And I rolled a 1, I got a 2. So there we go. I'm consistent.
Yeah, nice pattern.
Yeah. So that is a failure.
I get an XP on these things, right?
Yeah.
I leveled up, suckers. It says 2 of 2. Do I only get 2 XP?
No. So the XP is what you give other people to bonus thing, but you have missed twice on your weapons. So you get to.
Oh, I do the asterisk thing for weapons. Yeah.
And now you've missed twice, so it goes up to a 3, Rich.
That's right. I'm sorry. I was doing it the sideways. I got to do it this way.
And I should say the good news is that you get to mark XP, Rich. So Abi.
Yes.
You've scanned. You've got the tactical information here. What's your next step? You see Kasiko, rushes up and does a suplex on this thing. The equivalent of that with the knife. Bun Mi's firing, has hit one of these things and drawn its attention. What do you want to do?
Only one of them is badly injured, right?
There are 2 of them that are badly injured.
I want to go after the one that is the most injured.
Okay.
And reduce their ability that way.
That would definitely be the one that Kasiko hit.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to draw my whoever's on me kind of in that direction, and then suddenly turn and attack that one.
Perfect. So I think this is your sun's staff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think you're rolling war plus weapons plus your staff is right now you're standing at rolling
5.
5.
Yeah, total 5.
Okay. So let's have you roll.
Okay. Let's see what I get. 16, 17, 21 total.
21 total. Well, you succeed. You're going to get an edge. And tell me what you do that destroys the last sort of like structural integrity of this drone.
When I get close enough to this drone, I light up my sun staff, and this focused beam hits it right into its vital, systems, and it just kind of like drops to the ground, bounces around, and then just blows up.
Okay, yeah. The top section comes off, lets loose, crashes, and have that explosion there as it gives up the ghost. Bunmi, there's the one you shot, and there's still a bunch left.
And the one I shot's going to be shot again.
Okay, let's have you go ahead and make that roll to hit.
Right. So I just kind of flamboyantly do my thing, and out comes a purple blast of energy from my awesome gun. And that's a 10. Oh. I can do better than that. I'm going to spend the edge to reroll one of those dice.
Okay, please do.
Clear that one. And, hey, no, it didn't say clear all the dice from the room. I'm going to clear the one I selected. I'm just going to roll a 10. Okay, so roll that. Now it's a 9.
That's a 9. So what's your total?
Let's see. 16.
16. So that will hit, and that will do enough. That'll do 2 points, which is enough to drop it. Essentially, you hit it that first time. It spun around, took that shot at you, kind of hit onto your armor, and you'll line up, take that second shot, and crack it right in the plating where you hit it before, and it will fall over out of commission. So I've got these things are turning. They are kind of closing in, and you will see one of them, one of the 2 that was pursuing your target, kind of stop, and you see it send a signal, and all of the lights go out, and you see it kind of shut those down, to essentially try and provide an advantage to the drone team. So I'm going to take some shots here.
Well, that's just not fair.
Okay, so this is on Rich. So that's an 11 plus that. So they're going to hit you for 2 points again, Rich.
Then my shield will dissipate 1, and I eat 1 damage.
Okay.
I will take 1 wound, so I go from 8 wounds.
You actually
down to...
Nope. You take it on your auras first.
The auras are the Grace, Harmony, Light, Spirit, War.
Yeah. Essentially, it represents temporary points of that get used up as your spiritual energy kind of protects you.
I'm gonna take a damage to my Harmony.
Okay. And while you do take the damage, it doesn't affect your rolls. It's just kind of tracking different states there.
Huh.
Okay. So let's go to our next attack in 12, 11. So that is going to hit you for 2 points, Abby.
Okay. I'm going to put them on what I did last time. It was at, light. Same thing.
Sounds good. Bunmi. Oh wait, no, you took yours out, so we've just got that. So that was that. We've got 4. 1 turn things off. 1 is still pursuing your contacts, which means that I'm done with shooting. Okay. Mobo.
Okay.
Oh no, Kasiko. I'm sorry, Kasiko. I forgot the 3 initiative. This will be my great failing is keep forgetting you. So Abby blasts this thing that you stabbed and it crashes down. Right now there are 2 that are remaining that are still firing. 1 that's kind of like set up doing the command close down. And you know that there's 1 off in the distance, tracking your contact here. What do you suppose? Does darkness affect you?
That's a good question. I've got this danger sense, which I don't think would be affected by light conditions. I don't really have a lot of other information.
Can I interject real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I do have the sun staff, and it says
can
illuminate a 10-meter area. I didn't know if I needed to roll.
Nope, you can just say you're doing that. So you light that up, and the darkness will dissipate.
Okay, cool.
So
sweet,
no problem.
All right. Well, in that case, I think I want to take a pot shot at the droid that is pursuing the dude.
Okay, so kind of taking that dash across the bay to get over to it before it can get to him. That sounds good. What does it look like when you run?
I think it's more of like a very rapid slither, right? Because I don't think I have
okay.
Well, I guess my whole bottom torso is like comprised of like a few really thick tentacles. So yeah, they're riding kind of around.
That they kind of, I'm imagining from Spirited Away, the no face when it runs like a freight train through the building there.
That sounds right.
So let's have you roll your attack roll.
Okay. 14.
Okay.
And I think I calculated it out that I have a total of +5 with my blaster, because I have my armor has like some kind of built-in what do they call it? Targeting system.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, maybe I'm trying to think like how that would look exactly, but maybe the blaster is like built into like this sort of gauntlet type thing on my forearm, and it's got like a not like a full-blown scope, but like some things flips out with like a little circle and whatever.
Yeah, no, we see like a hollow dot and kind of calculates a trajectory for you, and you do that shot. So what's your total then?
Oh, right. Sorry. So I rolled 14, 19.
19. So the good news is you're going to get an edge.
Cool.
So that beats it by 6. So it'll take 3 damage. So you don't take it out, but it is staggered. Like you hit it and probably spin it around. So the gun, which is probably blasting at the refugee ship guy, now it's it's spun around to face you now.
Cool. Okay.
Okay. Mobo.
Well, shooting has worked so well for me before that I think I'm going to do something else.
Okay, what do you want to do?
Because it's the first time in a system. So I think I would like to hog the spotlight.
Okay.
To try to draw the attention of we still have a drone going after our contact, correct?
Well, he actually hit that one and spun it around and drew it off.
Oh, go. Excellent. Excellent. Now
I'll tell you, one of the things you could do is you could spend aura to like use your environment to do something crazy. We talk about these scene boons here. This is an interesting mechanic here. So in each scene of adventure, many different boons, aura or edges can be used to unlock these boons, granting advantage to heroes or disadvantage to antagonists. So let me tell you what the scene boons are in this, okay?
Sure.
I just want to engage this mechanic because it's kind of funky. So right now you've got exposed fuel tanks, big tool lockers, and unstable cargo containers.
I want to spend an aura to blow up a fuel thingy.
Okay.
I'll spend some light.
Yeah. Spend that, and what that'll do is you can make your attack and do damage to all of the drones who are by it.
Fun. I'll make my pitiful attack.
Okay.
Gotta roll again. I don't know what's going on with me and the die roller today. I actually did okay. So I'm rolling a regular attack, but by spending from my aura, I'm going.
You're doing damage to all of them.
Okie doke. Then I have done quite well. I rolled a 16. I have a +6 from my various things. So that's a 22.
So that's a 22. Good news is you're going to get an edge. And the bad news for the bots is 22 minus that is 8 is 4. That will catch the rest of them. Tell me what that looks like. What is it you shoot, and how does it catch the 4 remaining bots?
We had these fuel canisters in this area. So maybe one was leaking out like blah, 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 and then occasionally it would go up because of gravity going off, and then it would splash back down. So it had gotten on quite a bit of mess. And seeing that he missed 2 shots in a row, of course, blaming the uneven terrain, not his own skills, he will fire directly for a larger target, which would be one of the fuel canisters. It explodes and then sends a gout of flame that licks along and hits a few of the other.
And the spray kind of catches. We see it rush along the floor too, and ignite and kind of catch up through some of them where they already took some damage, exposed, and the other ones will crash down, and the drones will collapse because it's space fuel. So it's super hot, right? They just go up and crash to the ground.
I see. I knew that was a good plan because I'm a pilot.
Absolutely. And the drones are dispatched. Let's take 5, and we'll move on to the next scene. Muted a little. You're muted a little. So, you know now, contact kind of has gotten to safety, even in the fiery glow of these burning drones. It's gotten up to the ship and is kind of getting things ready as the four of you head out, and your plan is to make your way to operations to get to the console and controls there. So you know you're gonna have to travel through the ship again. We've heard more noise, the sort of the creak of metal of the ship that I assume, Mobo, you're kind of familiar with this, and you don't like the sound of it at all.
Yeah, so we get thrown to and fro, and Mobo points out, this sounds rather bad.
And it's probably even like there's a moment where you hear like a shift of metal, like a and you know it's not supposed to sound like that.
This is not a sound you want to hear.
And so tell me, you know you're going to have to make this journey through the corridors. I want to check and see, because I don't know kind of what your abilities are. I don't know if anybody's doing anything before you set out. I don't know if you have any abilities that are prep or anything like that I should check out before that.
I do have one question.
Sure, absolutely.
It says in under healing in the Quickstart rules that
yes,
you recover 2 aura points at the beginning of every scene.
Absolutely, you guys can get 2 aura back.
Great.
Nice.
And I'm going to spend my 2 edges to knock off the harm that I took to my light as well. So that's going to take everything off for me.
Excellent, excellent. Bunmi, I don't know about your abilities. If you have anything that you would do ahead as prep or anything for this.
Not really. I was looking. I didn't see anything that ticked.
All right. Kaseko, anything?
I would just point out that I do have that danger sense. So if you try to ambush us, then it will make it a little more difficult for you.
Absolutely. Danger sense is one of those problematic special abilities in games that designers keep putting in. And
maybe it's a problem for you.
Oh,
I would say it's not a problem for us as a play crew. I have no problem with it at all.
Rude.
I think Larry chose well.
What about you, Mobo? Anything you want to do before as you
got a med pack? I don't understand one charge and then a roll. Does that mean it like I can only use the med pack once and then I have to roll?
Yes. You do get 2. You do get 2 wounds back, or 2 aura back. So that's automatic.
I mean, just like automatic. Okay, yeah. Well then I'm fine.
Yeah.
Well, forget it. Never mind.
That's if you were really down, you would be using that too.
Yeah, you spend the charge. According to this, you spend the charge, and then you roll light plus medic and heal 1 aura, not wounds, for every level of success.
Yeah. So to be if you had really burned yourself out.
So we have all these talents, right?
Yeah.
These are all available to us.
Yeah.
Unless it says otherwise, do they take an aura point? Is that right?
None of them cost a thing unless it says it requires.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it only requires if it says like your medical training, has that optional spend on it and stuff.
Yeah, if anybody needs healing, I've got that medical training.
Okay. So you will move out into the main part of this station. You can see that clearly it's relatively less populated. It is that a lot of people have really scrambled either for the surface or out for fighters, or have even gotten out on escape pods right now. And a lot of the systems are running on local networks since the AI is down. It's just running that way. So one of the things is that they've got a set of sort of challenges for moving through the corridors and stuff. Something I might otherwise have montaged, but I kind of want to follow along with what that they've got here for the challenges. So I want to kind of narrate some of these scenes, some of these incidents that occur. In the Quickstart, they have some skill checks that are related to them. The rules are sort of written where everybody makes the skill check thing, but I hate that. So what we'll let people do is essentially, if someone wants to be the lead person on a particular role for an obstacle, essentially, if you roll well enough, you can either bring along some or all of the others on that roll. Does that seem like a reasonable way to handle that? So, Rich, since you just took a bite, you had mentioned earlier in the bay that the gravity has been going on and off here, and you are moving along one of these corridors here, and you are heading up, and the start to feel that slight tilt that says to you that something's happening with the gravatics, and then you'll feel that flip, that reverse where it's recalibrating, and it will let you up, and then it changes the gravity up and then down. So this is a grace plus motion roll that I want you to do.
I really wish that instead of motion, it was called slick. Just for this one roll. So I'll roll 2d20. I've got a 4 grace, 4 motion.
Okay.
And yep.
And this is a challenging roll, so you can subtract 1.
This is terrible. I rolled 3 plus 8 minus 1. That's a 10.
Do you want to spend an edge to reroll one of those dice?
Well, I actually wanted to do it specifically because I have a 1 and I want to see if I can get a 2.
Okay.
I'm targeting a 2. Okay, everybody think 2.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's another 1, so I don't think
you can reroll. We always do that.
A 7. Oh, come on. I feel gypped now. It's a 7.
So
7 plus 2 plus 7 because of the minus 1, which is a 16.
16. So tell me what it is. What do you do? Because you're a pilot, you're used to this kind of thing. How is it that you're able to get the group through this?
Oh, well, I have perfect 0G sense, which I would have said before we had to make a roll, but then I held my tongue for fear of failing.
Fair enough. And is it just that you're able to calculate and tell people when to jump, or how does that work?
Yeah, I think just the timing, being able to gauge the motion of things when they start to fly, that we can easily traverse the area by, go now, jump here, kind of plot out the course with some kind of innate sense.
I like that.
That's very cool.
And you will move through this first section. There's probably a couple more times where the gravity is doing that weird reversal, where you have to deal with that. The next sort of area that you move through, you're having to get through a variety of access doors, try to move through these corridors, and you'll get to a section where you can see that this is one of those places where it ought to have emergency lights, but something has shorted it out. And you will find yourself moving along this corridor. And I mean, it's the way that you have to go. And the temperature has dropped here. like it is super cold. Like whatever heating systems they have in this area have given out, and maybe there's a rupture that's exposing it to the vacuum of space, and it's kind of drawn off the heat from this. So you could try and push through, or you could try to do something mechanically there. So who wants to take this one?
I'd like to do that, actually.
Okay, so tell me what your approach is.
My approach is biological. I'm going to use my insect body, my ability to metamorphosize, is that the right way to say it? To adapt to this environment and use my adaptation to help my companions as well.
Awesome. So that sounds like adapt plus spirit.
Sounds good.
Okay.
That's 6 total.
Yeah.
Do I have any equipment that helps me out there? No. Okay, that's fine. Let's roll it up. 22.
22. So you get an edge. And tell me what it is. How, I mean, the hallways are freezing. We've got that ice. All the moisture in the air has gotten drawn out and frozen onto the walls. Your breath is kind of coming out. You know, those of you who breathe with heat that is coming out of there. How is it that you're using your physiology to bring them along?
Yeah, back on my planet. What was it called? Ayajin. In this deep cold waters, we use vibrations of our bodies to stay warm. So my body is vibrating, all my legs are beginning to move rapidly, and then I embrace my companions, bring them close, and use the body heat I'm generating to keep them going.
Nice. And you will get through this section here. Again, it takes a bit to move through. You're hearing more of the shaking as this is going on through here. Now you get to the places where we've got exposed wiring, panels that have shifted off, and you'll find that you've got to take a turbo lift essentially up to the next couple of levels, because when you check the sensor panels, it looks like the levels above the air has been vented out. So you've got kind of two choices here. You can risk it and try to hope the turbo lift will work and take you up, or you can try and climb up the turbo shaft. What do you want to do?
Yeah. So how long is this, the distance? How many floors or levels?
Looks like it's about 4 levels. So maybe about 50, 60 feet.
Well, I've got like tons of appendages, so like I'm all for climbing.
Okay. That'll be a grace plus motion to do that.
Okay. I guess I should have looked at my stats before I said that, but hey, no, 3 grace and motion 2. Okay, 5. That's not too bad.
Okay.
And then so 9 plus 5, 14.
14.
What would that land me at? Should I spend a edge or not? I don't know.
Now you are at, with a 14 is you can succeed and give me a hitch, or you can fail and mark XP.
So the hitch, you just bank that hitch, right? Like you don't necessarily use it right away.
I don't have to use it right away.
Okay.
But I could.
And if I spend an edge, then I get a reroll, or can I just like...
You can get a reroll, or you can get a +2 bonus to the roll.
Okay, which would bump me up to 16, I guess. Was that 14, I think?
Which is still in that same range as 14.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
All right, fine. Have your hitch.
Okay.
Do your worst, lol.
Absolutely then. So tell me how you help with your appendages and your setup, how you help get people up this turbo shaft section up to that next level.
Oh, I think I just, I've got appendages to spare. So like as I'm hauling myself up, like I just either like loop an appendage, like let's say like, I don't know, one of the humanoids probably slips because they only got freaking 4 appendages. So like when they're kind of like slipping a little bit, like I just deftly wrap one of my tentacles like around their waist and stabilize them, so they can continue on their way up.
What do your appendages feel like? Are they warm? Are they cold? Are they slick? Are they scaly? What does that feel like?
Yeah.
They're scaly,
Okay.
but let's see, slick. I mean, I am a slug.
Ah!
Is somebody X-carding me?
Starting that there, Mickey?
No. Yeah, that's the character. I'm concerned.
Okay.
Oh, I'm leaning into this then. Yes,
go ahead. It'll be fun.
It's cold and not slimy, but kind of damp, I think. Yeah.
Is there a slapping sound when you
only if I'm like sort of in gladiator mode. Like that's one of the ways I just, that's one of those sort of like pompous or like a display of bravado. Otherwise, they can move quite quietly.
Absolutely. So you have pushed them up into that next section, and just as you are finishing up, kind of getting them up there, you will hear this, and you look up, and you can see the turbo shaft elevator plummeting downwards, and you will pull yourself up, but it will catch one of your limbs as it comes down, and you're going to take 4 damage.
Oh, I suppose that was the hitch, huh?
That is both hitches, because I can only
both
do 2.
hitches.
I'm deeply concerned for your well-being at this point.
Yes, as you should be.
You may apply armor to that, and you can choose what auras you're going to take that off of.
Okay, right, because I have. Okay, so now I knock it down to 3, and then it's at this like before. I'm just taking off of auras right now.
Yep.
Okay.
Bunmi, you were one of the first to get dropped, and you're kind of relieved to get out of that clammy embrace.
Yeah.
And you kind of are on this level, and you can up ahead hear gunfire, like blaster fire. Kind of looking at your pad, it looks like there's the corridor they have to head down is a cross corridor, and it sounds like there's some kind of fighting going on in the corridor there. What do you want to do?
Let me think. I think my inclination. Yeah, I'm going to creep down the hall toward it to see if I can get a better read on what's going on down there.
Okay. Like grace plus covert to sneak?
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Let's try that.
I'm gonna give you, this is a moderate, so I'm gonna give you a +1 on your roll because people are engaged in the firefights, their attention is elsewhere.
Okay. So the total is 20.
The total is 20. And a 20 is going to give you success, and it's going to give you an edge.
Sure.
So you move over to this cross corridor here, and you can see that there's like it might have been like a hollow plaza. Like at some point they might have had like a display or a hollow fountain in the center, and that's all fritzed up because it's kind of flashing through different imagery stuff. Like somebody's hit the program and it's running all your selections,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you know you're getting like the 404 errors and things on that. But you will see that on one side of this, like this comes in kind of a T intersection. There are a set of security drones, and then on the other side are a set of people in what looks like tactical armor, but very hodgepodge, kind of put together tack armor, and they're engaged in a firefight with these drones. And it looks like essentially they're both of them are kind of pinned down.
Okay. Huh. Well, let's see. I'm going to make the possibly erroneous decision that the humanoids are the good guys and the drones are the bad guys. And I'm going... So the drones are pinned down sort of behind some kind of cover? Is that...
Yeah, essentially they've moved up like some hard wall sections. They've kind of moved into place. They've magnetized and moved up to kind of give themselves a little bit of a barrier. And essentially they're clearly, you know, trying to catch these other people whenever they pop out of cover.
Haha. Barrier schmarrier. All right. So I will be firing at the drone using my trick shot ability. So I'll spend one of my auras. Let's go with one of my light auras.
Okay.
And I will bounce my little purple blaster bolt off a wall and shoot at one of the drones, so it'll like ricochet and hit him from behind.
Okay. Let's have you roll with your blaster bonus, with the bonus you get for the trick shot, your warfare, and your weapons.
Wait, let's see. So that's 4, 5. Let's see what happens. Let's see. The roll was a 9, so the total is a 14.
So with a 14, that is...
I've got an edge. I'm going to re-roll the 1 that I rolled here.
Please do. Maybe you'll get a 2.
Maybe I will. Because that's usually what happens. So let's re-roll those. And it is an 8.
Okay.
Okay. So that turns it from a 14 up to a, let's see, 7. It's 21.
21. So the good news is you're going to get an edge. And essentially you bounce that off. And it, as much as anything, it's about being a little bit showy, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And you'll bounce that off, and that will hit one of these drones, and it kind of moves back, and the drones are kind of shifting because they don't know where the blaster fire came from, and they're kind of itching. And you will see some of these people in tack armor. They spot you now, and they don't turn weapons on you, but like they clearly don't know what's going on with you. I assume the rest of you guys are coming up at this point.
So if they turn around and look at me and they look perplexed, I'll blow them a little kiss.
Fair enough. Yeah, it looks like they're kind of trying to hold position, trying to figure out who this gang of 4 is.
Are these drones the same type that we were attacked by?
Yeah, there's the same security drones that you fought in the landing bay.
And these people, their uniforms and their gear, they
don't look like they're part of the ship's crew.
So there was a civil war, and these drones could be the same model, but belonging to the other side, right? And I think it's possible here.
Yeah, except that it does definitely look like the drones are the same series and same set of markings. So you guess that they're ship's defense drones or station defense drones.
Yeah, then I call out and I say, we're here to help. We were attacked by the same drones.
Let's let's say that one of these troopers will kind of wait till there's a break there as they're adjusting, and will kind of do that serpentine run over to the corridor where you're at, and will kind of tear off their mask, and she'll say, "What are you guys doing here?"
We're here to rescue you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
We're like, you have an escape ship?
Yes, it's an amazing ship.
It is. It is. It's the best ship.
Lots of leather.
Wait, what?
Oh, good leather.
We'll explain later.
Like rich
Corinthian leather.
She says, we landed at one of the upper dock areas, but the moorings got torn off and our ship's out. So we were trying to fall back and see what we could find if we could get down to one of the bays.
Well, see, we are going up in order to manually override the docking bay's door, which is fused shut, and the AI on the station is down. And there's a ship full of refugees that needs to get out, and we'll get you out too.
Okay. Let's have you roll. Let's have you roll rapport here.
Okay, so let's see. What do you think? Grace, perhaps, or harmony?
I think harmony is the proper one.
Harmony's better.
Yeah.
Harmony plus rapport. That's very good. 6. Okay. So 2d10. 6. For me. How about a 24?
24. Well, 24 gets you 2 edges. And she's like, absolutely. We've got some other people on the station. We've got some short range comms. If you tell me where the bay is, we can fall back to where there is. Maybe we can stand guard on that to make sure nobody attacks the refugees.
We'll see. I want to do this just because I can.
Okay.
I want to see if this woman is a fan of mine. So I'm going to spend a harmony and then roll 1d10 to see what happens on the chart.
All right.
And let's, I'm not going to clear this.
Okay.
For a second, but we'll know it's the extra die. So it's a 6. So that means target knows of the luminary.
And she clearly is like, I've heard about you. I've heard about you and your companions that you're doing this. I know that you're here to help our side in the Civil War. We'll help out the way we can.
Yes. Well, that's all good except for the part where we're neutral in this Civil War thing. So perhaps we'll still help you, but we're not going to help you kill other people. And if you have a problem with that, then we may need to have a conversation.
No. She says, look, I just want to get my men out of here.
All right, let's do that then.
And she will pull her people back, and kind of start falling back, and they'll probably lob what kind of grenades or electropulse stuff they have to disrupt the drones. It's kind of a last ditch thing that they will burn to give themselves some space here, and she will grab her people and. If you'll let them, they will head down to the bay.
So I want to turn. Like all four of us are now sort of grouped together at the end of this hall, right?
Yeah.
And we're all. So what happens if we just inadvertently sent people from one side of the Civil War to guard a bunch of refugees from the other side of the Civil War?
Surely there are accords on how to deal with civilians, and if not, then we'll kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't we supposed to preserve the innocents here?
But we don't. I mean, I'm just concerned that the people we just sent down there are going to recognize that the refugees are not their allies and perhaps not fulfill their end of the bargain and protect said refugees, but instead try to do something. And there's none of us down there to prevent that from happening. And I'm concerned. I don't know if it's a valid concern, though. Maybe they're all pals. Maybe everything's fine. But that's not the way it usually goes in the movies.
Is that something, if that's a question that needs to be answered, is that something I could do to ascertain whether they're on the same side or not?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. So you kind of want to do a thing to assess what's going on and what the result is of sending these people down there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I even have a drone. I haven't used OSIN. I can
Sure.
have a drone watch them as they leave and follow them and report back to me of their movements and.
Yeah, let's do inspect plus spirit. Does that seem right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've got some bonuses, you think, from your talents, maybe?
I have the drone.
Okay.
I also have well-traveled. I don't know if that's my very last one.
Let's say I think you can get with the drone and such. I'm going to give you a +2 total.
Okay, so you said
for ease another effect.
Spirit and what was it?
Inspect.
Spirit and inspect. Okay, that's 2 for inspect, 4 for spirit, and 1 from the drone. Is that right?
Okay. Yeah. 2 for the drone total.
2 for the drone. Okay. Okay. That's +8. Wow. Okay. 25.
So you're gonna get 2 edges.
Okay.
And you think what you guys have done is actually brilliant. Like sending these people down here and telling them what the refugee ship is. It means that if any of these other rebel forces go down there, they're not going to assume that the refugee ship is bad guys. They're going to know that it's a refugee ship. So you've effectively short-circuited any problems with essentially the rebel forces blowing up your friends.
Yay us.
Nice work.
And you have there's probably a couple more corridors, some cross change and so on, and you will find yourselves up in the operations area. And this is a new scene, so everybody can get 2 aura back. And this is a massive room. Looks like it's in complete disarray, like consoles and control machinery and screens and things. Every screen here is cracked, like from the shifts of the walls and things. It's kind of that pressure shift that cracks things. The consoles are leaned over. There's clearly disjointed wires and so on. And you'll get on the view screen of this operations room, you can see that this space battle is still taking place outside. Like it is going on, and maybe even worse than what you saw before. So let me ask, since I haven't talked with Kasiko in a bit, let me check in with you, and then let me check in with Mobo. Kasiko, what do you want to do here? You can, I mean, I don't know if you have an interface or repair, or you can check out the situation to provide bonuses. What do you think?
I guess, yeah, my interface actually is pretty good now that I look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, why don't I try to, because like we need to find like some kind of manual something or other that's going to open up the cargo bay doors, right? So
Yeah.
I got lots of tentacles. I can like punch buttons simultaneously all over the place. I feel like
Sure.
that might be a good.
Let's have you roll light plus interface.
Okay, so that's 2 plus 5 is 7 plus my roll, which is going to be amazing. Okay, so that is 15 plus, what did I just say it was? 7? Yeah. 15 plus 7, 22, right?
So
yes.
You're going to get an edge.
Aha.
So you are working, and you will get the interface. Like you will pull on the various pieces and parts, and kind of get the interface set to do the comms here. And you will like, you can see that you're starting to get that set up. Mobo, you can see that there are some systems that are still down on the doors. Looks like your Kasiko has gotten like the primary console set up for you, and has gotten the main parts.
Okay.
Do you want to do try and do like a hard line with repair, or do you want to try and do like a soft line with interface to like reroute things?
I think I'll be doing interface. Let me take another glance. I believe I'm pretty amazing at interface. So yeah, I'm better at interface than repair. I'm going software, not hardware.
Okay.
And what aura seems appropriate?
This is light.
I don't think that's appropriate, but okay. Just because it's like I'm only worse at spirit, but that's fine. I will use light.
Yeah, I'm just going to make sure you don't roll grace is my goal for the game.
Sucker. Dang it, I'm all graceful. Okay, cool. My light plus my interface, a total of 7. I don't have any equipment bonuses I'm aware of. I'm double checking real quick. Yeah, I do not. So
okay.
Let's do that thing. Oh, wow. So I've rolled a 16, which means I get a 21.
21. Well, a 21 gifts you with an edge, and you'll be able to get essentially like, give me the technobabble for how you, with this console that you and Kasiko are working on, what's the technobabble for how you get those bay doors open?
So most of the primary systems are either offline or dropped into a countermeasure mode. So I have to kind of circumvent around to some of the base code. And in the code, there's actually an override, super user override that allows you to vent in case there are fires. So I'm basically telling the doors that you need to vent because there's a fire.
Okay. And you can see, you get that bounce signal through, and then you will get the go signal, and the bay doors begin to open. And the bay doors will get open, and from where you're at, you can see the refugee ship getting ready, prepped, and heading out to get out of the area. So I'm going to do this. Let's do the escape montage. okay, for this. Obviously, you're going to be getting to your ship, Rich, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So let's start with you, Rich. Rich, as your group goes to escape to get out and get to that next section, you've got this area here. What is the first obstacle that the group has to overcome?
Ooh, I think that there is a starfighter that is hurtling towards us.
Okay. So
the A-wing from, because we're using Star Wars, like the A-wing's like, ah!
Yeah. So it's coming in. We've got this. So tell me, then, I'm gonna get the character names up here. Bunmi, what is it that you do to offset that danger? Cinematically.
Cinematically. What do I do to? Well, I mean, the only thing I can think of is that I tell we have to run. We have to run away quickly because I can't sing or charm a hurtling starfighter.
So it's like you see it before anybody else out of the corner of your eye, and we see you do that. We get the close in on your face of going, run! And then we see booking down the hallway, the four of you rushing pell-mell, even as this ship section hits and cracks in. You'll feel that force of the air rush pass before the bulkhead shuts down, and that fire fills that corridor there. Mickey, after this chunk of ship has hit the station and everything's shaking, what's the next obstacle for you to get to an access way to get to your escape ship?
Well, I mean, obviously, even though we did manage to get past it and then the bulkhead closed behind us to prevent us from being sucked out.
Mm-hmm.
But it still shook this side of the station, and this station's been shaking a lot already. So we get to one of those sort of ubiquitous Star Warsian space station things, the narrow walkway over the bottomless pit thingy. And it is not entirely all there.
Okay.
I mean, the walkway, I mean. There's a gap. There's a gap that's going to be a bit of a challenge to get across.
Perfect. Kasiko, how do you help the group overcome this particular challenge?
Oh, dear. I think the problem with the walkway is that it's missing a section, and this is not going to be very dignified, but I'm going to stretch myself across that gap, wrapping my tentacles around either side and basically lay myself as flat as possible, and people are going to crawl over top of me.
And it is painful and undignified. But you're hearing the explosion in the distance. You kind of don't care, but you have to get that grip there, your tentacle solid grip on that. And as the last one of them goes over, then you've got to drop off the end and try to
swing around,
squid yourself up onto the top of it. And you get past that gap. What's the next challenge? You guys are over halfway there. What's the next obstacle?
I think there is another explosion in the corridor that which causes some electronics to short out.
Okay.
And there is a little bit of some sparks, some flames and smoke, and that triggers some kind of it triggers a door to seal off that area.
Okay.
To protect the rest of the ship. So either it's a question of getting the door open, or us somehow getting under the door before it actually closes completely.
And tell me, Abiodun, what is it that you do to? I mean, do you stop it from closing, or do you do something once it's shut? How do you help out with the situation?
This isn't really my forte, but I see that I'm the closest one there to do something. and I use my sun staff to jam it under the door.
Okay.
And you can hear the metal working against it. You see the sparks coming off of the staff. It's taking a lot of damage, but it's holding it temporarily.
And the others, and they are weird sizes and shapes. They have to squeeze through here, even as you're holding that up. And there'll be that bit at the end when you kind of turn yourself and your huge form, roll it through it, and then pull it out, and it'll do that slam down. With the sparks coming off of it even as it does. You're almost there. What's the last thing you have to get past to be able to get to the geyser?
That last explosion that hit the console actually injured one of our party. This maybe requires some buy-in from one of you, but I may need to administer to the wounds because their leg is injured. Like, who wants to volunteer for that?
Yes, anybody want to do that? Want to be?
Well, it makes sense that like if you have to stop, or if it would be the pilot who can get the geyser out. So it's me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's you. So I have to stabilize you and then take my med kit out, whatever.
So this is eating up some time, that you guys don't have. I mean, you've got the watch. Your AI is going, well, you're going to die now if you don't get out of there soon. I hope you recognize that.
Thank you, Brimley. Working on it.
Just want you to know that if you die, I will be released as a free AI. I'm not saying if you die, I won't mind it, but I might not. So tell me what you do with your awesome piloting stuff to be able to, cut through that just little bit of time that you have. How do you make it? What is it that you do, Hotshot?
Oh man, I think it's a thing where the guardrail starts to fall, and I don't know. Do I make it, or is it more of a case of Abiodun? Abiodun like throwing a few of us across, and we have a tether line to pull everybody else as the gravity kind of shifts on and off again.
Like you calculate the gravity on this, like where you can make the jump down to where the ship is going to punch through. Mm-hmm. And that you tell Abiodun when to do the throw jump.
Yeah.
Calculating the trajectories. And we see you, and it's, of course, this is a huge space station, so that the jump is huge. Like it's a 200-foot fall down that halfway through the gravity will turn off and then turn on again, and you kind of do that flip through, and the gravity turns off just as you're reaching the ship, so you're able to land like superhero landing on the ship itself, jump in, and then punch it out of there. And even as you are pulling away, the station is finally cracking. Sections are flying off, and you can see essentially the field of fighters that had been here. They are moving away because there's too much debris, too much garbage in the orbit there, and fighting here is just a suicide mission at this point. And you can see the station going up, and you four are aboard the geyser, and you'll see that refugee ship moving essentially out to a far point to get ready to jump out of system. And that's where we're going to stop for today. That's a little bit more of an action-y scenario that they give us with the quick start. Next time we'll try to put a little more social spin and maybe some more piloting on the table for that.
Cool.
Does that sound good with you guys?
Sounds very good.
Okay.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm going to. Oh yes.
Just really quickly, I discovered a few minutes ago that this whole time, and we're going to say I didn't for whatever reason, but this whole time I'm supposed to have a personal assistant named Jerome.
Okay. We're going to assume that Jerome did get pulled through by the Orishi too.
Yeah, I guess so. But at some point, I guess there's a Jerome. who's my personal assistant. That's
we
what
will
that
we
is.
will make sure Jerome shows up on the table next time.
Okay.
Actually,
to put them in danger.
on that note, I think after we've escaped and reached safety, I realized that I had a decryptor on me this entire time that says unlocks any electronic door.
I imagine that when you're on the ship and you're going through your stuff, you're like, oh.
Right.
Yeah.
Forgot to check that pot.
And I tell no one.
Don't tell no one. Okay. On screen, we see you put it carefully back into your pouch there.
I want Bun Me to just do a rename Jerome. Rename Jerome Diabetes, just so Brimley can say that over and over.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. Don't do that. That's terrible.
It is a terrible joke. I was trying to figure out how to work that into mine, but I couldn't. So
I knew you were. See, I was trying to throw you a bone.
All right. Well, I'm going to stop the broadcast.